She drenched my wife's feet in beer. She instantly regretted it. Sarah and I had been looking forward to this all week. Saturday afternoon, sun shining, a new craft brewery had just opened up a few blocks from our place. I'm Mark, software engineer, early 30s, pretty laid back most of the time. Sarah's a veterinarian, way more patient than I am, dealing with stressed out pet owners all day. We balance each other out. The brewery was packed. Exposed brick, long picnic tables, the air thick with the smell of hops and wood-fired pizza. Exactly the kind of place we love. Getting to the bar was a mission. A sea of plaid shirts and ironic mustaches. Think we can squeeze in there? I asked, nodding towards a small opening near the taps. Sarah smiled. Let's give it a shot. That's when we first saw Brenda and David. Brenda, all perfectly coiffed hair and designer sunglasses perched on her head even inside, was already holding court near the bar, loudly complaining to David about the wait. David, a smaller, more timid man, kept nodding and muttering apologies to her and anyone within earshot. We managed to inch our way closer. There was a bit of a free-for-all situation happening at the bar. No clear line, just a bunch of people jockeying for position. Sarah, bless her heart, is usually too polite for this kind of thing, but she really wanted to try their new IPA. The bartender, a friendly guy with a neatly trimmed beard, was doing his best to keep up. He looked like he'd been run over by a bus. I saw a small gap open up and gently guided Sarah forward. It wasn't intentional, but in the chaos, it probably looked like we were cutting in front of Brenda. Brenda immediately turned, her face contorted in a scowl. "Excuse me," she barked, loud enough for half the brewery to hear. "Some of us have been waiting here for ages," Sarah, caught off guard, stammered, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to cut." Brenda wasn't having it. She glared at Sarah. "Well, you did." David, looking panicked, tugged at Brenda's sleeve. "Honey, it's okay, we're next." Brenda brushed him off. "No, David, it's not okay. It's about principle." I stepped in, trying to defuse the situation. "Look, we didn't realize. We'll wait our turn." But Brenda was already escalating. She huffed, rolled her eyes, and turned back to the bar, muttering under her breath about entitled millennials. We finally managed to order our beers. Sarah got a hazy IPA, I went with a stout. We found a spot at a picnic table near the back, relieved to be away from Brenda's wrath. We were just starting to relax, taking a sip of our beers when it happened. Brenda, beer in hand, was making her way back from the bar, presumably to rejoin David. As she passed our table, she tripped. I saw the whole thing. It was deliberate. She lurched forward, conveniently directing the full contents of her glass, a light, fizzy lager, directly onto Sarah's bare feet. It was a warm day, and Sarah was wearing sandals. "Oh my God, I am so sorry," Brenda said, but her tone dripped with sarcasm. "I'm just so clumsy." She emphasized the "so" for good measure. Sarah gasped, jumping back. The beer was ice cold, soaking her feet and splashing onto the table. My blood instantly ran cold. I'm not a confrontational guy, but messing with Sarah, that's a line you don't cross. "Are you kidding me?" I said, my voice dangerously low. Brenda just shrugged, a smug look on her face. Accidents happen. She turned and walked away, leaving a trail of beer and smugness in her wake. I helped Sarah up, my hands trembling with anger. "Are you okay?" She nodded, but her face was flushed. "I'm fine, just wet." We went to the restroom, Sarah hobbling slightly. She rinsed off her feet while I grabbed some paper towels. "That was completely intentional," I said, my voice tight. "I can't believe she did that." Sarah sighed. "I know, but what are we going to do? Start a fight in a brewery?" "Maybe," I muttered. I was seriously considering marching back out there and giving Brenda a piece of my mind. Sarah squeezed my hand. "Let's not. Let's just get her back." Subtly, I looked at her, surprised. My wife, the gentle veterinarian, was suggesting revenge. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Just think about it," she said, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "We can't let her get away with that." Back at the picnic table, I was still fuming. Brenda was now comfortably seated, regaling David with a story, undoubtedly exaggerating her own victimhood. "Okay," I said to Sarah, my mind starting to race. "I have an idea." Brenda had ordered some fancy imported beer, something expensive with a long, complicated name. While she was busy talking, I casually grabbed her glass when she set it down near the edge of the table. I discreetly swapped it with a glass of generic domestic lager that someone had left behind. It was a perfect match in color. Brenda took a sip of her beer and her face instantly crumpled. "David," she shrieked. "This tastes disgusting. They gave me the wrong beer." David, ever the appeaser, immediately started apologizing to her. "Maybe it's just a bad batch, honey." "No," Brenda insisted, waving her arms. "This tastes like watered-down horse piss. I ordered the Belgian triple. This is..." Miller Lite or something, she called over the bartender, Liam, and launched into a tirade about the quality of the beer and the incompetence of the staff. Liam, clearly trying to keep the peace, offered to replace it, but Brenda was already on a roll, loudly complaining about the horrendous service and the lack of sophistication at the brewery. I caught Sarah's eye and we exchanged a smile. Petty, absolutely, satisfying, immensely, but Brenda wasn't done. A few minutes later, she accidentally bumped into our table, sending Sarah's almost full glass of beer flying. "Oh my God, I am so sorry," she said again, the words mocking Sarah's earlier apology. This time, I couldn't hold back. "Seriously," I said, my voice rising. "Are you doing this on purpose?" "I told you I'm clumsy," Brenda said, her eyes flashing. "Clumsy my ass," I muttered under my breath. Sarah put a hand on my arm, trying to calm me down. "It's okay, Mark. It's just beer." But the situation was escalating. Other people at the nearby tables were starting to notice the commotion. I decided to take a different approach. I went back to the bar and flagged down Liam, the bartender. "Hey," I said, lowering my voice. "That woman over there, the one with the sunglasses, she's been deliberately spilling drinks on my wife and generally making a scene." Liam sighed. "Yeah, I've noticed. She's been a real pain. Is there anything you can do?" I asked. Liam grinned. "Maybe, leave it to me." From that point on, Brenda's evening took a turn for the worse. Every time she ordered a drink, Liam seemed to misunderstand her. She'd ask for a glass of wine, he'd bring her a cider. She'd request a specific IPA, he'd serve her a light lager. And each time, he'd take an excruciatingly long time to bring her the correct order, all while maintaining a polite, but slightly exasperated, smile. Brenda was getting increasingly frustrated. She was yelling at Liam, snapping at David, and generally making a complete spectacle of herself. That's when Sarah noticed Brenda's expensive diaper bag sitting unattended on her chair. Brenda had left it there while she was busy berating Liam. "Opportunity knocks," Sarah whispered, a glint in her eye. A few minutes later, Sarah returned from our car carrying a heavy-looking reusable shopping bag. While I kept an eye on Brenda, Sarah deftly swapped the contents of Brenda's designer diaper bag with the contents of our bag. Inside our bag were dog treats, squeaky toys, and a half-eaten bag of kibble, all leftovers from Sarah's work at the animal shelter. It was a bit on the nose, I admit, but the symbolism was just too perfect. Sarah then discreetly hid Brenda's actual diaper bag behind the bar, telling Liam that she thought someone might have lost it. The climax came when Brenda's child inevitably needed a diaper change. Brenda rummaged through her bag, her face growing increasingly confused. She pulled out a squeaky toy shaped like a bone, then a handful of dog biscuits, then a bag of kibble. "What the?" she exclaimed, her voice rising to a shriek. She dumped the entire contents of the bag onto the table, revealing a chaotic mess of dog-related paraphernalia. "Where are the diapers?" she screamed, her face red with fury. "Where's my baby wipes? Where's my designer diaper rash cream?" David, looking utterly mortified, tried to calm her down. "Honey, maybe you packed the wrong bag." "No, David," Brenda shrieked. "I would never pack a bag full of dog toys. Someone stole my stuff." She looked around the brewery, her eyes darting suspiciously from face to face. She landed on Sarah and me, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. "Did you see anyone touch my bag?" she demanded, her voice trembling with rage. Sarah and I maintained our best innocent expressions. "Nope," I said, shaking my head. "Didn't notice a thing." Brenda stormed over to the bar, her voice echoing through the brewery. "Someone stole my diaper bag," she bellowed at Liam. "It had all my baby's things in it. Have you seen anything?" Liam, feigning concern, asked for a description of the bag. Brenda launched into a detailed explanation of its designer label and exorbitant price. No, I haven't seen anything like that," Liam said, scratching his chin. "But maybe someone found it and left it somewhere. Have you checked the outdoor seating area? Or the restroom?" Brenda, desperate, followed Liam's suggestions, running back and forth between the bar, the tables, and the restrooms, frantically searching for her missing bag. Liam made sure to loudly announce her plight to everyone in the brewery, adding to her humiliation. The other patrons were starting to stare. Chloe and Tom, a friendly couple sitting nearby, exchanged knowing glances with us. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Brenda stumbled back to the bar, defeated. "I can't find it," she wailed at Liam. "It's gone stolen." Liam, with a perfectly timed shrug, said, "Wait a minute. I think someone might have left a bag behind the bar earlier. Let me check." He reached behind the bar and pulled out Brenda's real diaper bag. "Is this it?" he asked, holding it up for her to see. Brenda's jaw dropped. She snatched the bag from Liam, rummaged through it, and confirmed that all her baby's belongings were still inside. The realization dawned on her. She'd been had. She turned and glared at Sarah and me, her eyes burning with hatred. We just smiled sweetly back at her. David, looking utterly ashamed, grabbed Brenda's arm. "Let's just go, honey," he pleaded. Brenda, defeated and humiliated, allowed David to drag her away. As they were leaving, she tripped on the curb right outside the brewery door. Her beer, which was nearly full, went flying, drenching her from head to toe. She didn't say a word. She just stood there for a moment, dripping beer and rage before disappearing down the street with David in tow. Sarah and I shared a knowing look and a quiet laugh. We ordered another round of beers and enjoyed the rest of our afternoon at the brewery, savoring our victory. That evening, back at our apartment, Sarah was cuddling with our dog, Buster, a goofy golden retriever we'd adopted from the shelter where she volunteers. I was doing the dishes, but I couldn't help but break out into a small victory dance. Brenda had drenched my wife's feet in beer, and she instantly regretted it.